It could be
And we
where this could be a moment here where they stomp her up. Maybe attempt to.
lie. This just happens to be the continuation of the P Diddy. We got 6/4/25. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They probably be going for about another hour, and then we will commence the Brando Knows show. Until then,
Confirmed that she spoke to Cassie before and after Ventura filed her lawsuit in November 2023. Ventura asked Bana to name her in connection with the balcony incident in her lawsuit, but Bana said she refused. Bana also testified that she did not tell any of her friends about her own lawsuit. The reason they chose Westmoreland, a small, sweet black lady, is because Bana wouldn't. Hold on, I lost this. My screen went blank. Emasculated any of the men on the defense team. They're so basic in their tactics, it hurts my head. That's what Magnolia put. I'm trying to figure out here where Westmoreland's going to go with this. We'll see. Nobody saw you be hung over the balcony, therefore you're just making it up. That's where I can see this going, but we'll see. My screen just went blank. Witness testifies she reconnected with Cassie around time of her lawsuit. Bana testified under cross-examination she reconnected with Cassie and worked for her in late 2023, around the same time Ventura filed her lawsuit against Combs. Defense attorneys probed Bana about her conversation with Ventura at the time, asking if they discussed filing legal action as they worked. Bana said she did speak to Ventura before and after Ventura filed her lawsuit, but the two didn't discuss it while working. That's what she testified. Do you think that's true? The pair did discuss the balcony incident in relation to the location and date it happened, Bana told the court. She also testified that Cassie asked if she could use her name in her lawsuit when discussing the incident, but Bana said no. See, Bana got her own lawsuit going. Probably why she said no. I got another lawsuit going on. Here we go. We're going into these conversations that Westmoreland, who laughed, by the way, told her to read this. Conversations about this alleged balcony. Combs says about this alleged balcony incident. You and Miss Ventura talked about the date, the place, who was there. She goes on to say, true. In 215 and 216, you didn't see any signs of violence, true? She goes, I don't know the exact year. Interesting that Westmoreland used the language that said about this alleged balcony incident. The way Combs is saying this right now in Westmoreland is this balcony incident never happened. It's what she's claiming. And the way she's coming off with this questioning, it appears that they're also saying that Cassie didn't see it happen. No one saw it happen. Because they're referring it as alleged. So Combs and his team are not admitting at all that this balcony. Well, would they? Would they do it now when there's a pending lawsuit? Follow what I mean? I see where they're just trying to say it didn't happen. We'll see what happens here. What you got, Westmoreland? What do you have? And it takes us past the 3 o'clock hour, so we're still here. It looks like we're going on. They're not stopping. They're not stopping. We're not stopping. We are here in real time. All right. Let's see where we're at. Stand by. 33 seconds. The birthday party. What drugs were you doing? I don't remember. Westmoreland says, the alleged knife throwing incident. He just walked in and threw a knife. She goes, I don't know. I'm not sure. She goes, are you telling the truth? Objection. Oh, man. What's happening here? So now Westmoreland's going in on the knife incident and called it the alleged, just like the balcony, the alleged knife throwing incident. Remember Diddy throwing the knife? She's like, he just walked in and threw a knife? She goes, I'm not sure. Are you telling the truth? Prosecution objects. Objection. So that's one thing. Two things I've noticed so far on cross is the defense feels like she is lying about the knife and the balcony. And now it's just asked her on the stand, are you telling the truth? So that to me is they feel like she's not. What's going on here? Will she hold her ground? There'll definitely be redirect on this, by the way. And everything that they're doing to her right now, the prosecution can go right back in 4 or 5 minutes and answer these unknowns or fill in the holes. I'm assuming there will be redirect. We don't know. Will she get impeached? Will they move to impeach her? Some people say she's getting badgered. Badgered. They're going at her pretty hard, it appears. Credibility. We'll see if this sticks or what. What's happening here? I'm like, keep refreshing my screen. Like, I want to know, like, what's up? Like, where's this going? Prosecution objected. They're going hard on her. Trying to get her tripped up. Trying to make her admit stuff. She says she's telling the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. She has immunity. The knife. Now, she was asked about the knife throwing incident. What has happened with the knife incident? I mean, she says that he came in, right? Came into the apartment and threw a knife at Cassie, and she threw one back. She threw the knife back. Does she remember? She's asked what happened there, and she says, I'm not sure. He just walked in and threw a knife. She goes, I'm not sure. Now, here we go. Are you telling the truth? Objection. Sustained. Here we go. Westmoreland goes, didn't you tell the government they would get in knife fights? Plural. Knife fights. Plural, she said, Westmoreland. Bana says, I don't remember. Let me show you. She goes back and says, I was suggesting where the knife came from. Westmoreland goes, because it makes no sense. Ooh, they're going in. They're going in. They are really going in. They're accusing her of lying. They're straight up saying that the knife thing doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Because it makes no sense. Oh, boy. They are going in on her right now. We'll see where this goes. And they're also saying that she told the government that there was a knife fight. Knife fights, plural. Fights, plural. Let me emphasize also plural. Knife fights. So does that mean there's more than one incident with a knife fight? But she testified about a knife fight. But they're showing her something she discussed with the government. Because I guess they're like the 302s, like FBI 302s. I don't know the exact number. When you talk with the prosecution, the defense has the right to see what you and the prosecution discussed in these notes. Let me show you. She goes, I was suggesting where the knife came from because it makes no sense. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. You know, could end on a good note for Diddy. Possibly. We'll see. We'll see. Is the defense scoring points right now? Are things shifting a little bit on this witness? Stand by. I want to know what happens here. I want to know what happens. I'm literally on the edge of my seat like, yo, what's going to happen here? I'm like literally paying attention. Okay, here we go. Westmoreland says, you're saying you don't know how he got in to throw a knife, but once he's left, you're no longer worried? She goes, I don't remember how I felt. Do you understand what she just said? She asked the question. You're saying you don't know how he got in the apartment to throw the knife, but once he left, you're no longer worried? She goes, I don't remember how I felt. You say at a photo shoot, Mr. Combs said, I could kill you. Yes. At a photo shoot. So now she jumped topics. She dropped topics. I don't know if that worked. She should have honed in if she was going to call her a liar. She's now going into the I could kill you, where she claims that Diddy said I could kill you. At a photo shoot, by the way. That's one thing interesting about the defense. Like, I feel like the defense, if they have someone in the ropes, they go on and ask another question. And I mean, I don't understand that. I guess it has the jurors here, this tactic, kind of wondering here, is she telling the truth? What's going on here? Or, is it just the strategy here? Or what? Doesn't appear they went in for the kill on that one. And now is jumping onto something else. I guess what they're doing here is just saying everything you said in every situation just doesn't make sense. The knife incident, the balcony incident, and now they're going on the I could kill you. I'm the devil. You know I could kill you. Remember that talk? What's going on? What's going on with the witness here? Let's see what's going on. And a lot of people in the chat, I'm looking around at different forums and stuff, and I do see some people in our chat here as I'm reading are like, well, now she suddenly doesn't remember. Interesting. What do we got? Rico. No, I want to know what happens here. Like, I generally, like, I'm here, like, are they going to get her or not? Because so far, I don't think they got her. As far as the defense, got her and tripped her up or anything like that. They're just leaving open the possibility that she's lying, but can't prove that she's lying. Oh, she goes on to say, this is about the killing. At first, you told the government it was at a party. She goes, I don't know. Your first demand letter said Mr. Combs said I could kill you while he hung you up over the balcony. He did both, just not at the same time. Oh. Now she's saying in a first demand letter, in the demand letter, she said that Mr. Combs said I could kill you while he hung her out on the balcony. And now she's saying, she responds, he said he did both, just not at the same time. Interesting. So what Westmoreland's saying is the killing incident, I could kill you. It appears now it's happened at 3 different locations. Westmoreland's trying to say, you said it happened at a photo shoot, but you told the government it was at a party. And then in the demand letter, you're saying that it was while you were being hung over the balcony. I could kill you. So what Westmoreland is asking is, you're saying that I could kill you happened at 3 different spots. You tell the government one thing, you tell me another, and the demand letter says another. That's where they're trying to get her. But she's saying just not at the same time. He did both. So we'll see where this goes. Interesting. No, this is getting interesting. So 3 different places now, right now, she's being called out on about where Diddy supposedly said I could kill you. Now but didn't we hear something that she testified she fired that first attorney? Keep in mind that. She also testified that she fired her first attorney because of some stuff, incorrect stuff. What do you think the jurors thinking? Puzzled? Like, what's going on here? What's going on? I saw somebody say in the chat, why did she change the topic? The knife part was interesting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying with the knife. Like, she jumped away from the knife. And then now it's talking about, I could kill you. I see where they're going here. They're just trying to say that she's making all types of stories up from different places and then don't remember this and don't remember that. And these incidents happen at different places than the other. How about trauma? Trauma messing up your timeline. Does anyone consider that? Tricking her in her words. All right, let's see the updates while we're waiting for more information to come out. It is 3:19. We are still here, past the 7-hour mark. I think we're going to be here to 4 o'clock, possibly. They're supposed to have Enrique Santos on the stand today. I don't think that's happening. All right, so a CNN expert, in the meantime, I just want to share here, while we wait for more on this, goes on to say, Bonna's testimony is shocking and damning and goes directly to RICO charge, legal expert says. Her testimony has been shocking and damning and shows Sean Diddy Combs' alleged abuse also extended to those he was not romantically involved with. A former federal prosecutor by the name of Elise Admison said, a former federal prosecutor says this, Bonas was not in a relationship with Diddy Combs, and if you recall, the defense has really tried to frame their alternative narrative of what was happening with Cassie, between Cassie and Combs, as a toxic domestic violence. But here we have another witness who was not romantically linked to Combs being violently abused. She says, referring to Bonas' testimony, that Combs held her over a 17-story balcony. Admison said Bonas' testimony goes directly to the racketeering and conspiracy charge prosecutors are trying to prove, because it demonstrates that Combs was operating in a way that, through threats, violence, and abuse, that goes to the corrupt enterprise aspect of the RICO. So that's probably why the defense is trying hard right now to trick her up, get her to say things, because it's important here to discredit her in their eyes, because it takes, if she's believed and the jury believes, it takes you away from just the DV between Diddy and Cassie. It expands to more people, not just simple DV, what the defense wants the jury to think. So they're doing their best right now to trip her up or say that it's not true. Will it work? I am listening and waiting for more information to come out on that one. But if she is believable and she can hold her ground here, this expert pretty much said that it is damaging and it shows directly into the RICO charge. In the meantime, another report came out and said defense attorney questions Bonas' memory after she earlier said that Combs threw a knife at Ventura. It goes on to say defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland questioned Bonas' allegation that she saw Diddy throw a knife at Cassie, suggesting she doesn't actually remember that incident. Bonas told prosecutors in an interview that Ventura and Combs would get in knife fights, plural, sometimes, according to interview notes referenced by Westmoreland. Bonas said she doesn't remember saying that and stands by the memory she testified today. She said she doesn't know how or where Combs got a knife to throw at Ventura. And it goes on to say, remember this morning, Bonas said that on one occasion when she was staying at Ventura's apartment, they were awoken by Combs, and that once inside, he threw the knife in Cassie's direction. She testified that she didn't call police following the incident because she was scared. Now, she testified they're saying that she was awoken by Combs, and that once inside, he threw the knife at Cassie's direction. Westmoreland's trying to get her tripped up and saying this isn't true, or you're saying one thing to one person and one thing to another. All right, we got a sidebar. After a long sidebar, we were at a sidebar. Combs' Westmoreland. You met the government on January 18th, 2024. You didn't mention I could kill you, but put it in your subsequent demand letter. She goes, yes, in a demand letter. I don't know when, she said. So she's saying Westmoreland got her to say that when she met with the government, I guess the first time, because she met them numerous times, on January 18th, 2024. So this is just a little bit after Cassie's lawsuit. But she didn't mention to the government then about I could kill you. That reference that Diddy told her. But put it in a subsequent demand letter. She's saying, yes, true. Okay. What do we got? anyone's perception of Vanna's change here based off what we've been listening to? Does anyone starting to feel like she might be lying a little bit, or lying, or she's not truthful at all, or what? What is everyone thinking about this right now? What's your take? Throw it in the chat. In the meantime, Washington Post put out a new report. Cassie Ventura discussed her pending lawsuit against Sean Combs with her friend Bana. The latter testified on cross-examination. Bana said Ventura asked for permission to name her in the suit, and Bana told her no. The suit mentions Combs dangling a friend of Ventura's over a 17-story balcony, but does not name the friend. Bana also sued Combs herself, a matter she said she tried to keep private from her friends. Defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland kept pressing the witness, asking questions that suggested Bana and Ventura didn't just compare notes on their memories of the balcony incident, but made details up. Combs is Westmoreland. Read this. Bana, the whole thing, she's asking. This paragraph. Judge is like, read as much as you want. Thanks. Okay. Westmoreland, you didn't tell the government about I could kill you, and Tyrone was there? Ooh. She goes, yes, I let him go. So not only that, but she's talking about what Westmoreland just asked her to read was when she met with the government before the demand letter, where she did say about I can kill you. She's saying when she met with the government, Tyrone, her lawyer at the time, who drafted the demand letter later, was there present when she spoke to the government and didn't mention anything about I could kill you when they met with the government that first time. January 18, 2024. Tyrone's there, the lawyer that she eventually let go, but that was the lawyer that eventually did the demand letter afterward, mentioning for the first time, I could kill you in the demand letter. So what's more than saying your lawyer was even there at the time when you spoke to the government, and you didn't say anything at the time about I could kill you with your lawyer there. Interesting. I think they're going in full in on impeachment on her. I do. I think they are. I believe her. But I do think they're going in on impeachment eventually. Maybe not today, but tomorrow they're going to probably tell the judge that they intend to go for impeachment. But we'll see. We'll see. But still, they're not getting her in line. They're just getting her. Why are you saying all this stuff later on? Later on, down the timeline, later on. Why are you bringing this up for the first time later on? They're trying to say they're adding on to the story. That's what the defense is trying to imply here. They're saying she's not being truthful. I mean, they're asking her in question forms. So 3 things the defense has honed in on the cross, Westmoreland. I could kill you, the knife incident, and the balcony incident. And it seems like the defense is saying none of them happened. There's no proof, and none of them happened, and it doesn't make sense. All right, so Westmoreland goes to drugs. Drugs were expensive, right? She goes on, they are expensive with a question mark. Now, I don't know. Oh, she wanted to trip her up and say, are drugs expensive now? I don't know. Well, she wanted her to trip her up to say, you're still doing drugs? How would you know if drugs are expensive now or not when you claim you're sober. So she just tried to trick her. Didn't work on that aspect. Did you run out of money for drugs? She goes, I don't remember that. She goes, Westmoreland goes, you and Cassie had a drug partnership. She goes, yes. A drug partnership. What is a drug partnership? Does that mean that you all do drugs together, like a pack? You sign a pact with somebody to do a drug partnership? What exactly is a drug partnership? So yeah, man. Listen, she's getting it hard from Westmoreland right now. We'll see if she can hold up. I think Westmoreland's trying to go for the kill herself to try to get this whole lawsuit, the 10 million one, discredit based on what she's been saying on the stand. And all this testimony might down the line be used against her with the lawsuit. Or what she's saying today. Prosecution's doing redirect. Don't get it twisted. They're doing redirect. Magnolia put at the end, JLR, what the heck is a drug partnership? What is a drug partnership? Hey, we're just going to do drugs together. All right. So, yeah, this is getting really, really good, folks. Actually, I am fascinated here of how this is going to go. Like, where are we going here? Like, what are they going to do? Is the defense going to win on this particular battle? Stand by. We'll see. But even if, like, nothing else comes out of this, could you say that it worked and the jurors are looking at Bana in a different way now? Or questioning whether anything she said was the truth or not? She's a liar. I do think the defense keeps honing back in over and over about her doing drugs. Maybe implying she's just, she's just an addict. She's drugged up. She don't know what's going on. She's lying, making stories up. She's confused. She's on drugs. Because they keep circling back to drugs. Like they're getting her and then they're going back to the drugs. The drugs. Trying to stomp her up. Let's talk about Frank Black's drugs. Exactly. All right, so I keep refreshing my screens. Anything else new comes out of this, you will hear it here. Stand by. Fox News just report, just while we're on it, they just put out 5 minutes ago. Cassie Ventura's friend didn't tell the singer she was filing a lawsuit against Diddy. Bana most recently worked with her friend Cassie Ventura in November of 2023. Bana, testifying under her name Bana, admitted that she didn't tell anyone about the lawsuit she filed against Diddy that same year. All right, we got an update here. I'll go back to that. Westmoreland, Cassie would pay for the drugs. You would buy them. She goes, yes. Did you meet the government on May 25th, 2025? And June 2nd, June 3rd, and June 4th. She goes, yes, that's not long ago. Westmoreland goes, that's today. Today's the 4th. She goes, I'm not good with dates. So Westmoreland's like, did you meet with the government last month at the end of May 25th? Trial's already going on. And then meet with the government today, meet with the government yesterday, meet with the government the day before. So that today's Wednesday the 4th. Tuesday the 3rd, Monday the 2nd. She goes, yeah. But she goes also says, I'm not good with dates. All right, what did you meet with the government? what was going on. She met with the government for the last 3 days, she says. For the last 3 days, Vanna has met with the government. We'll see where this goes. We'll see where this goes. In the meantime, Washington Post just put out a report 30 seconds ago. Defense attacks memory, honesty of alleged balcony dangling victim. It's been a standard procedure for the defense lawyers to compare witnesses' testimony on the stand to what they said in previous meetings with the government, looking for contradictions. Notes are generally taken at these meetings, though, as we've seen in this trial, witnesses will sometimes say those notes don't accurately capture what they said. It goes on to say, defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland is using the strategy with Vanna, suggesting that the witness is being dishonest about certain holes in her testimony about being dangled off a high-rise balcony and thrown into furniture by Combs. Vanna, who was using drugs heavily during this time, has said repeatedly that she doesn't remember some key details, including her allegation earlier today that Combs threw a knife at Ventura in a separate incident. The defense hasn't offered anything directly contradicting the testimony, and that's what we talked about. They haven't offered anything to contradict it, but it appears to be exploiting these gaps to paint a picture of a dishonest witness. I don't know how it happened. I just saw what I saw, she says, about her memory of the knife incident. Westmoreland goes on to say, you really don't remember this incident. True? Westmoreland countered. So they're not getting her in lies. They're just getting her in exploiting gaps and being dishonest. But they can't prove, what I'm saying is they can't prove she's being dishonest yet that I see. Westmoreland, 40 seconds ago, the balcony incident. Didn't you tell the government there was a party in the apartment? She goes, I don't remember that. You told the government your girlfriend was in the bathroom, not that you took her in there. She goes on to say, my ex. So they're trying to get her in saying stories, different stories. Don't jive up. All right, stand by here. Yeah, they're trying to get her with these different stories that don't jive up. Not jiving up, ladies and gentlemen. Things aren't making sense. Will they be able to get her at her on this? Stand by. We're going to put the other Skyline camera up because the feed went off. So just stand by. You see it spinning there for a minute. We're going to put the New York skyline off as we finish off today's testimony. We'll see what happens here. Come on in. Or we'll put Times Square. We can do Times Square. We'll do Times Square. Earth Cam. There you go. We're going to do this because their feed went off and we want to continue this. All right. So they're getting her right now, trying to say your stories aren't saying things. You're saying one thing to the government, that your girlfriend was in the bathroom, not that you took her there. Because remember, she testified that she took her girlfriend to the bathroom because she didn't want to expose her girlfriend to seeing what's going on. And she also emphasized my ex, by the way. No longer with this girl. She said my ex. She corrected. My ex. She's just saying the stories aren't jiving and you're leaving out key details, or the stories are switching a little bit. But can anyone really say that she's lying at this point? Have they proven she lied? Do they have something, the defense, to flat out say she's made this up? And I haven't seen it. Because you didn't mention it at the time of the government when you spoke with them originally about I can kill you. They're trying to say the fact that she didn't mention it to the government when she first met him, but mentioned it later in the demand letter. They're trying to say you're lying because of that. You mentioned it later, so it's not true. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if that's enough right there to say you're a liar. You're a liar. They're also mixing in a lot of the drug use here, which she admitted to on the stand. That's not a secret. She's explained about all the drugs involved here. I just don't see that as enough to discredit her. I mean, they got her pretty good right now. But will they go for the kill or the mic drop moment? And I haven't seen the mic, like they're still, I don't know what's going on here. We're still on this, okay, Combs. Well, we're still on this balcony incident and this girlfriend in the bathroom. We'll see exactly what is said here in her response to that. In the meantime, CNN came out with a new report. They say, and I will read it here. It says, defense says Bana didn't initially tell prosecutors Combs had said, I could kill you. And we've talked about this, but they added a little bit more to this. Defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland suggested that during Bana's first meeting with prosecutors, she did not mention that Sean Diddy Combs told her, I could kill you. Bana said she didn't remember when she told the government about that incident. Westmoreland also suggested that Bana later told prosecutors the incident happened at a party, not a photo shoot. Not at a photo shoot. Bana said she did not remember if she said that. The defense attorney said the first demand letter from Bana's attorney alleged that Combs said he could kill her while she was hanging over the balcony. Bana testified that those were not her words and that the two incidents did not happen at the same time. She said she fired her attorney after that. Interesting. And we are 3:45. We're still here. All right. It says, here we go. Your complaint says you were smoking a cigarette on the balcony, not weed. Now they're getting her on. Remember, she testified the blunt. I was going to smoke a blunt or about to smoke the blunt. She's saying your complaint said you were smoking a cigarette on the balcony, not weed. She goes, I don't remember. Westmoreland, different things? She goes, yes. Westmoreland says, you told the government you recalled he was charging at you. She says, I don't remember. So again, little details here. She's saying in the complaint, you said you were smoking a cigarette. As we know, she testified on the stand. She's talking about the blunt. She used the word blunt because I was pointing that out. I was like, blunt. She flat out said a blunt. Does that make a difference if one time she said it was a cigarette, the other the blunt? Does that matter? Does it matter? Let me know what you think. Little word games, little words here. Does that make a difference to discredit, and as if none of this ever happened because she said in a complaint it was a cigarette but testified it was a blunt? Did he like sneaked up on her like he was Batman, like a villain, a Marvel superhero, right? Diddy's into that Marvel superhero stuff, according to Kid Cudi. He snuck up on her on the balcony in Cassie's apartment. But Diddy's attorneys are trying to say more or less that balcony incident never happened. They call it the alleged balcony incident. The alleged balcony incident. Where are we at? Still waiting. Come on in. Come on in. We're not done. It's not over yet. And we're approaching the 4 o'clock hour. It is not over yet. Very interesting stuff. For sure. Interesting testimony, shocking testimony, powerful testimony. Is it believable testimony? Defense is discrediting her in the ways they feel like she's not telling the truth. I'm not going to say for a fact they're discrediting her. Defense, everybody has tactics here. They have tactics on the way they present the case. They're going in on her. Here we go. Another question. Didn't you first say Mr. Combs essayed you on the balcony? Oh. Hold on a second. I have to read this. Didn't you first say Mr. Combs essayed you on the balcony? She goes to respond. I show them where his hands were. Westmoreland says, you said he groped your breast, or your lawyers said it. She goes, my lawyers said that. Oh, man. So, she's saying her lawyers were saying that Diddy, like, I guess the story was at one point where they were maybe going down the route where they're saying Combs essayed her on the balcony because he groped her breast, maybe by picking her up and touched her. But I don't know where they're going here. Like, did she really make SA allegations at first against him? Whoa, this is getting good. This is getting good. But she's throwing it back at the lawyer. My lawyer said that. I'm assuming it's the lawyer she fired at the beginning stage. Now, one thing is the prosecution wanted to emphasize when they had her on the stand about firing the lawyer. Is it possible that she was SA'd while Diddy was hanging her from the balcony by touching her at the same time? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I would say SA probably unlikely in this scenario. What she's testified, you can't be mad and hang somebody from a balcony and SA them at the same time. But is SA if you grab somebody by a private part, is that SA? with you, if your intent was to do harm, is that like you follow what I mean? Like if his intent was to go in and hang her from the balcony, which she's claiming he came in, hung her from the balcony, but in the course of doing that, if he's touching her private parts, is that considered SA? I would be honest, in that situation, I would say no. Unless, he's indicating something. This is crazy. This is crazy. My mind's all over the map here right on this one. I'm like, whoa. Defense challenging balcony dangling incident. NBC News. The defense tried to discredit Bana's memory of the alleged dangling incident after she hasn't kept all the details of it straight. Combs' attorney, Westmoreland, insinuated in questionings that she couldn't recall from which direction the defense came in at her or what she might have been smoking at the time of the incident. She's just answered, "I don't remember," multiple times. All right, let's see what we got. What do we got? Still stuck on lawyers. We might be going to 5 today. We might be going to 5 o'clock today. Stand by. I don't know how long we're going here, but we're approaching the 4 o'clock hour. I don't think they're going to let her go until the prosecutor does redirect. Yeah, we might be here for another hour, possibly. Is she getting badgered? Does the defense have her? Does the defense already done their job where jurors are now questioning her truthfulness? If she was honest, or she doesn't remember because she was on drugs, because they've been going in on drugs a lot too. Drugs. All right, waiting. We're waiting. Stand by. In the meantime, I saw a comment pop up from our good friend. They love Charlie. Assaulted, yes. SA, questionable. Per the blunt cigarette question, it does go to state of mind. AANA usually get discredited this way, re-victimized. 100%. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for some explanation. They love Charlie. You're definitely paying attention to this too and trying to figure this out in real time. What I'm just thinking is when Westmoreland's asking her about, she going the SA route on the balcony, I'm just wondering if that's what her first lawyer was trying to do to her and try to convince her, yo, you should go after him for SA, just like Cassie. I can make that happen. We can get paid, kind of deal. Because remember, she later fired this attorney. We'll see where this goes. Listen, to me, Cassie has corroborated a lot of the abuse towards her. Nash, another witness there. And now we have another person here that is describing what happened inside Cassie's apartment. And until there's some sort of proof that she's lying, besides these little well, you reported it later, or you didn't do it in time, or you failed to mention it at this time. Defense has to come up with something harder here, like some sort of document, some sort of recording or something to indicate that she's flat out making this stuff up. She's bragged to people that she's going to take Diddy down for whatever reasons. Or I'm going to set him up, or I'm going to say he did this to me or something. They don't have nothing that I feel. Just now, Washington Post. The defense team told the judge they want to demonstrate that Sean Combs was concerned about Cassie's drug use with her friend, Bonna. This is similar to an argument the defense made about Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, earlier in the trial, when they suggested Combs was upset about her drug use with Ventura. Ventura countered that Combs was only upset she was doing drugs with people other than him. While Bonna testified earlier today, she and Ventura frequently did drugs. A defense attorney asked if Combs ever requested her to stop giving Ventura drugs. I don't remember him saying that, the witness replied. So the Washington Post is like, the defense is trying to show that Diddy is only concerned about Cassie being around people that are doing drugs, and he more or less was coming to save Cassie or go at the people that were feeding Cassie drugs. And Washington Post was talking about a similar instance with Carrie Morgan. That is an interesting angle. I see that perspective here. So Diddy's rushing over to Cassie's apartment because he's mad that she's there and doing all types of hardcore drugs with Cassie, and he took it out on her. Now we're still on this pause here, waiting for more information to come out. It's an interesting angle. Will it work, though? Cassie's longtime friend details trauma after Combs allegedly, the Independent uses the word allegedly, dangled her from a balcony. Their report from the Independent says Bonna struggles to remember details. Bonna has given vague, uncertain answers to many of Westmoreland's specific questions about the incidents she shared with prosecutors. Bonna has been unable to recall whether her ex-girlfriend was already in the bathroom or if she was brought into the bathroom during the balcony incident. She was unsure how the knife incident began or where the knife came from. Westmoreland appears to be showing jurors that Bonna has some inconsistencies in her recounting. Inconsistent. No new reports coming out yet on there. That's coming from the Independent. Inconsistent statements. Inconsistencies. Six minutes ago, Fox News reported Cassie's friend admits first time she alleged Diddy threatened her was in the demand letter. Bonna, Cassie's friend, testified Wednesday that the first time she alleged Sean Combs threatened to kill her was in the demand letter after she met with the prosecutors. Nicole Westmoreland asked about Combs's alleged telling Bonna, "I could kill you." The defense lawyer claimed Bonna told the government the threat happened at a party, not a photo shoot. Westmoreland said it was a lie that was repeated. There was an objection from the prosecutor that was sustained following a brief sidebar. Bonna then agreed that the first time she alleged Diddy said he could kill her was in a demand letter from her lawyers. After the demand letter went out with inaccuracies, Bana said she let her attorney go. Here we go. Westmoreland. Didn't you tell the prosecutors 2 days ago, because she said that she met with prosecutors in the last 3 days, didn't you tell the prosecutors 2 days ago that you couldn't remember what happened out on that balcony? She goes, I don't remember. Do you remember what drugs you were on? She goes, no. Didn't you tell the government you took Molly, G, and cocaine? She goes, that's a lot of drugs. Didn't you take them all? She goes, no. Not all on that night. A lot of drugs. All right, so we're going back. Westmoreland saying, didn't you tell the prosecutors 2 days ago that you couldn't remember what happened out on that balcony? 2 days ago. She goes, I don't remember. You don't remember telling the prosecutors that or not telling the prosecutors that? What does she mean? I don't remember. Do you remember what drugs you were on? No. So here we're at. They're still going. 4 o'clock hour. We are live watching real time what's going on at the Sean P. Diddy Combs trial. JLR investigates, Magnolia investigates. Man, they're still going at her. It's not over, and we're still here. Are they going to try to drag this out into tomorrow for her? Is a judge going to step in at this point? We'll see. Prosecution really hasn't objected to a lot of this, which is also interesting too. And that's a confusing of her response there, because it's like she doesn't remember today, but she told the government what it was. But she doesn't remember today. That's why I'm a little confused about that response there. Didn't you tell the government you took Molly, G, and cocaine? That's a lot of drugs. Didn't you take them all? No. Not all that night. I just think it's a reach to flat out call her a liar with no proof. Like, they don't have no proof that she's lying that I see. I don't think they're going to get anything from her. I think she'll just keep saying, I don't remember, until they're done. Because she's been saying a lot, I don't remember. I don't remember. Yeah, that's where it appears. But we're still here, folks. Come on in. Whoa. All right. I'm like, how long are we going to be here? 7 hours, 50 minutes, and still testimony. We're at the longest this case has been since the first week. We're going into the 4 p.m. hour. Oh. Judge, Miss Westmoreland, how much more do you have? Westmoreland, how much can I get? Laughs. I like to finish today. I ask you how long. Westmoreland says, quite a bit more. Jurors, you may go until 11 a.m. tomorrow. Oh, boy. She's not off the hot seat, folks. Westmoreland says she has quite a bit more. Dun, 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 dun. Breaking news. Breaking news. We anticipated Bana, the victim here, to be off the stand today. Well, Westmoreland just informed the judge she has a lot more with this witness victim. L. Atkins, thank you for being a new member. Welcome aboard. Really appreciate you. Very grateful. Folks, oh my goodness. Now we're getting a little behind. Because today the prosecution indicated that they wanted to get the radio personality on the stand. I believe his name is what? Enrique Santos? Enrique Santos was supposed to testify today. Matter of fact, as we started, they were even going to have Jane Doe on the stand today. So it's quite possible here that the prosecution could be in a little, what's going on here? This witness has been on for a long time being crossed. And Westmoreland's like, we got more. And their tactic now maybe work to stall and wait another day. And here we go. Tomorrow, she will be back on the stand tomorrow. So she's not done. Oh, man. This gives the defense all night long. Well, first off, the defense will be meeting with Combs probably in the courtroom. Once everything shuts down today, marshals will be there. They'll probably strategize some more. They're going to talk about all the Jane stuff, the Jane Doe text and exhibits that will be mentioned when she testifies. But now I think they are a little bit behind. It's another thing, too, is the prosecution already shared their hand by saying that Jane Doe has an international flight out next Thursday. Tomorrow's Thursday. But Jane might not even hit the stand of Friday. Possible. We're only going 11 to 4 tomorrow. So we got really, Bana could be on the hot seat at least through lunch tomorrow. And then we still got Enrique Santos. Now, the fact that Enrique Santos was jumping ahead of Jane, maybe the prosecution tomorrow says, we're going to put Jane right after her. Too. Enrique could be shuffled again because they were putting Enrique after her simply today to get Jane on for tomorrow because Jane's going to be a while. But now Enrique Santos, he could be shuffled back another way. And if Jane goes on before Enrique Santos, means we're going in all the way into next week, far into the week. And who knows, prosecution might have 2 more weeks instead of what I was thinking. Maybe they wrap up their case by the end of next week. Oh, things get interesting. That's why you never know when these trials are happening what can happen. CNN reports. And then we're also going to stay here just to see the final reports to see if we caught anything that we missed. All right, Judge, how much more? Combs, Westmoreland, 45 minutes, maybe 30. So there you go. They're saying 45 minutes, but don't forget the redirect, which they'll be. So she could be off by lunch. There will be no break when they start at 11, so they'll go 11 to 12:30, lunch, hour and a half. This is crazy, folks. Advantage who today? Do you think the defense scored any points on this? Do you think the defense has made any inroads here? But even if you discredit one witness or have jurors thinking about one witness, is that going to persuade the same jurors to say everybody's lying? This person's lying, this person, Kid Cudi's lying, Cassie's lying, Capricorn Clark's lying, she's lying. I mean, that's going to be way uphill battle to just say, well, everybody's a liar then. Because the defense hasn't proved all other people have lied. They're going in on her hard. They still haven't proved she lied. I guess they're trying to just beat her down like a dead horse. I don't know. I don't know. That's all that she's responding at this point. I don't think you're going to get much more out of her. I don't know. Stuff is heavy. For real, this is some heavy stuff. All right, so in the meantime, I'm waiting for these reports to come up. We're going to stick on for a little bit more. Look at Times Square, man. Times Square. It's rocking and rolling there. Look how many people are out there. Oh, by the way, it's a beautiful, beautiful day. All right, so the AUSA was talking about a pseudonym order for Jane. Something about some things about keeping her identity. They're going to try their best to keep Jane's identity revealed. Shapiro goes and says, this is interesting. Shapiro tells the judge right now, Jorah's gone, there has been a chilling effect on media coverage, even of the demeanor of the witness. There's been a chilling effect on media coverage, even of demeanor of the witness. Judge, I don't think people in the courtroom and the other courtrooms were trying to violate the order, nor do I think they were chilled. Where are the arguments? All right, so Shapiro's saying something about a chilling effect on media coverage, even of the demeanor of the witness. The judge is saying no. But put it in writing. Put it in writing. What is she trying to say here? Just now. Okay. Nicole Westmoreland is zeroing in on discrepancies of Bonna's claims that Combs dangled her off of the 17th floor balcony in 216. In one interview with the government, she told them you were smoking weed on the balcony, but isn't it true in your civil demand letter to Sean Combs, you said you were smoking a cigarette? The defense lawyer asked Bonna. She raised other inconsistencies where Bonna testified that she was staring out in the distance when Combs charged into the apartment. But in a previous interview with the government, she said she was looking inside from the balcony. So inconsistent. She's saying she told the government that she was looking inside from the balcony, so facing inward. But what she testified that was she was staring out and Combs ambushed her from behind. So we're trying to get her in some discrepancies here. She's also responded, I don't remember, to Westmoreland's questions, but continued until the judge sent the jury home for the day. We got that report. Getting some follow-ups of what happened today. We're not done yet. 30 to 45 minutes tomorrow. Again, 11 a.m., a little later. We'll see the time on our live feed tomorrow. I think we'll probably come on about 10. If something's jumping off, if there's scenes outside the courthouse, we can go on early if need be. Well, man, I could say, I thought Mia, the cross on Mia was pretty vicious. This has been the most vicious, I feel, so far on the defense going in on a witness so far is right here. Anna. Now, I think the stakes are very high just because Diddy knows there's lawsuits centered around her. And maybe they're trying to kill two birds in one stone here to shut her down and shut her lawsuit down. In reference to this chilling effect, Combs said, I disagree that there has been no chilling effect, at least with respect to mainstream press. I think I'll be reading the order. What order? Shapira doesn't like something going on with a chilling effect, and she's saying it's the mainstream press. Unfavorable writings towards their client? Is that what's going on? They don't like that the media is protecting Mia? Is that what's going on? We'll learn more about that. They're out for the day there. I think all the other feeds went away. Let me just see here. What we'll do, folks, is we'll end for the day. Us, ourselves, JLR Investigates. I think anything else that establishes overnight articles or more storyline, but I think we're up to speed here. And we've been on for a while. All the way through. Court is done. Diddy's supposedly going to be meeting with his lawyers inside the courtroom. Judge won't be there. Prosecutor won't be there. It'll just be U.S. Marshals. They're going over stuff in reference to Jane. Tomorrow, another big day. And we'll go from there. Later, it starts a little later. Again. Oh, Donaldson said something here. Stand by. I'm going to post this here. Xavier Donaldson. Says, now we can't even talk to him on the phone. He has minutes, but he can't call us. It says, you have no minutes. What does MDC legal say? That he has no minutes. All right, stand by. I just want to see where this goes a minute. Donaldson saying that they can't reach him because he's ran out of phone minutes. You know, in the borough prisons, in the Metropolitan Detention Center, the borough prison inmates have minutes, phone minutes. I think it's like 200, 300 minutes a month. They were trying to get him to get 500 a month. Xavier Donaldson saying we can't even talk to him on the phone anymore. He used his minutes. MDC Legal saying that it has no minutes. So the legal department, and they have a legal department. So I think the judge is ultimately going to order the MDC to allow more minutes or more time for him to be on the phone. We can't even talk to him on the phone. Well, that's also maybe Diddy used up all his minutes on nonsense purposely to get them in the moment here to say that they can't access him. Who's Diddy calling on the phone here? All right, so yeah. We'll find out more about that later on. I'm going to blow myself up here. And the Diddy and the Ghosts. Diddy and the Ghosts. Woo! What a day, folks. JLR Investigates. Going to go get some more coffee. Thanks for spending the day with us. I appreciate all of you. Continuous coverage on the Sean P. Diddy Combs trial. We will be here every day, so we will be back tomorrow. And what do you think? Let us know in the chat. Appreciate all of you. Very grateful for the new memberships. Everyone that contributes. Y'all are fam. We appreciate all of you. Everyone is coming from everywhere in this chat. We got the best chat on the internet during the day. Keep it coming tomorrow. Make sure you sub up, and I'll see you tomorrow bright and early, a little 10 a.m. We'll be here covering the case. Banna back on the stand. Jane Doe. Who else testifies? Twists and turns of the case. I am obsessed. Hopefully you are too. Be back tomorrow. See you then. Thanks for watching. JLR Investigates.
Day 4 of Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial got intense in a hurry as Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura faced a blistering cross-examination with defense lawyers using old love texts and steamy messages to challenge her claims of horrifying abuse. From freak-offs to jealousy to burner phones, it all came out in court today. And I'm going to be speaking with our very own Elizabeth Milner to get the inside scoop, including a major witness who's set to take the stand next. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. The fourth day of testimony in Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial turned explosive as his former girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, faced quite aggressive cross-examination about her tumultuous 11-year relationship with Combs. The defense pushed back hard on Ventura's allegations that she was coerced and abused by the fallen mogul, showing jurors old text messages and emails where the two appeared to exchange loving words, even some pretty explicit plans for their so-called freak-offs, raises the question of consent or not. So to give us that up-close and personal account of every single gripping moment that happened inside that courtroom, we're going to bring back on Law and Crimes reporter Elizabeth Milner, who is in that courtroom once again. Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on. So set the scene for us. What was the atmosphere in that courtroom like today? Was it tense when we're talking about cross-examination? Did it feel different than direct examination?
Yeah, for the most part, this was a day that a lot of us were anticipating. A lot of us were wondering, what is the defense going to have when it comes to this cross-examination? You know, the last couple of days while Cassie's been under direct examination, to me at least, just kind of watching her tone, watching how she answers these questions, she really kind of seemed very compelling. She felt like a compelling witness. So obviously the defense's job is going to be to poke holes in this. Did you want to participate in these freak-offs? Did you have a way of helping set these up? Did you initiate wanting these freak-offs in some instances when Diddy was sick, or other instances as well too? And so today was definitely a very highly anticipated day. As far as the tone just in the courtroom, I think a lot of people were just kind of wanting to know what was going to happen next. So as far as just who was inside that courtroom today, it looked a little different than it has, on day one and even a little bit into day two. In that, we had Karen Agnifilo inside that courtroom today. She is obviously married to Mark Agnifilo. You had Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, in the courtroom. His sons, Christian Combs, Quincy Brown, Justin Combs, all came into the courtroom today. Notably, the daughters, again, not inside that courtroom today. Chance's mother, who's been inside that courtroom, also wasn't there today. Neither was Justin's mother inside that courtroom. So it was a little different than we've seen, on prior days, especially for opening statements, as well as even into day two. As far as those who were there to support Cassie, it was still the same as it has been the other couple of days she's been testifying. Her husband, Alex Fine, was inside that courtroom. Cassie's brother was inside that courtroom, as well as Cassie's mother and her attorney, Doug Wigder. As far as even when Cassie came into the courtroom today, you would think that maybe she would appear nervous or just a little shaken, depending on, what to expect really from what the cross-examination would look like. But she appeared very cool, calm, and collected, just similar to how she has been on the stand these last couple of days. She just walked up to the witness stand. The judge reaffirmed that she is still under oath. And so she just sat there. And even when Ana Maria Esteveo was asking her question, she, for the most part, appeared cool, calm, and collective. Her tone was still the same, even during, as far as comparing it to her direct testimony, where, she was very soft-spoken. There were times, she wasn't saying yes or anything like that. Instead, she was saying yep or mm-hmm. And she just appeared, again, very soft-spoken. She appeared that she didn't seem nervous, at least from what I could see of her. Of course, there were some moments where you could kind of feel that she was uncomfortable, especially when it came to these graphic text messages that were being displayed, but she didn't feel comfortable necessarily reading them out loud. And it makes a lot of sense, right? This was, appeared that these were private messages between people who were dating, people who were together for a years-long period. But just keep in mind, even to now, she is married to somebody else. And, her husband was in that courtroom. And so I could tell that there was a little uncomfy moments when it came to especially some of those graphic tests or those graphic text messages that were being displayed in court today. But as far as the tone goes, just overall, it appeared just kind of like another day in court. I'm assuming that, Cassie kind of knew what to expect as far as where the defense would go, what type of questions that they would ask her, knowing that they would try to poke holes into her credibility. But again, she appeared cool, calm, and collected while on the stand. No emotional moments or anything like that. No points where she appeared visibly agitated or angry. Just, for the most part, asking clarifying questions. Can you repeat that? Can you ask it a different way? Can you talk about what time frame this was? Oh, I don't remember these text messages. And so that was kind of most of the tone throughout most of the cross-examination today.
Hey, everybody, this is a law and crime legal alert. Did you know that children are being diagnosed with serious conditions like type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? And the research is potentially linking ultra-processed foods to this? Yeah. Well, Morgan & Morgan is stepping in to fight to hold these food companies accountable. With decades of experience fighting large corporations, they are ready to stand up for the families who deserve justice. So if your child under 21 has been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes or fatty liver disease, then visit www.forthepeople.com/food or scan the QR code on screen to learn more. So before we get into the substance of what the cross-examination was about, there are two other groups of people I was curious about how they were reacting throughout the day. How were the jurors reacting during the cross-examination from what you could see? And how was Diddy reacting during the cross-examination by his defense counsel?
As far as I could see from the jurors today, they seemed at some points a little bored. It seems at some points they're kind of wondering what's happening next. I think even when the text messages were shown, a lot of them were very much analyzing them. A lot of them had direct focus onto the computer screen in front of them, just so that way they could read all the messages, even the more graphic, sexually explicit messages. I saw there were sometimes some jurors were doing, the tennis match look where they were either looking at Cassie, who was on the witness stand, then looking at Ana Maria Estevao while she was asking the questions, kind of doing a back and forth. Meanwhile, some other jurors were just laser focused on Cassie and just what she had to say and how she responded to the cross-examination today. As far as Diddy goes, Diddy, just like every other day, is very much participating in his defense, very much so passing off notes to his defense attorneys to kind of hand over to Estevao, who was standing up doing the questioning. He very much so was intently looking at either Cassie or the exhibits in front of him, especially when it came to those sexually explicit text messages or even just the text messages and the emails back and forth with one another. And so just like every other day, Diddy is very much so participating in his defense, because as the defense has pointed out a number of times, that Cassie is a very critical witness to the case. Mark Agnifilo said she is probably the most key witness in this case, somebody that, they wanted to make sure that they were doing a thorough cross-examination of her, because Diddy's life somewhat depends on this, because, they were making the point that he's facing a life sentence if he's convicted. And so they wanted to make sure that they were asking every single question that they needed to ask. Do I think that was necessarily accomplished? I'm sure we'll get to that in just a second. But for the most part, as far as Diddy goes today, he was definitely participating like usual.
Yeah, and look, she is the number one witness. What do I mean by that? She's the star witness. She starts at the start of this trial. I believe this case rises and falls with her testimony. She is making up a number of the counts that he's facing right now: racketeering, sex trafficking. Her testimony would help support those and also help support transportation to engage in prostitution. The prosecution needs her to testify, which is why I believe one of the reasons they want her to testify so early is because she's 8.5 months, 9 months pregnant. They got to make sure she gets on the stand before something happens. Now, you mentioned the text messages. This day was filled with text messages. Elizabeth, I'm going to ask you what we learned about these text messages. I'll leave it to you how graphic you want to get about them, depending upon what the value is. But what were the text messages? What were the value of the text messages? What was the defense doing with these text messages? And by the way, emails too. So communications between Combs and Ventura. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of messages today, a lot of things that were read inside that courtroom. First, starting off with messages first with Anna Maria Estevao, asking Cassie, so you love Diddy? She said yes. And he loved you? She said yes. You called him Sean. You knew the real Sean. And Cassie said, can you repeat? And then along the lines answered the question that, she knew the Sean that other people didn't see. When they started getting into the email correspondence and text correspondence, they went all the way back to 2008. One email that said, I'm a very lucky woman. And I'm going to kind of paraphrase this email because it was a lot going on. Cassie said, I'm a very lucky woman. I miss you. And I'd fly wherever you needed me to. I love you. And then she signed it off, Cass. They showed a 2009 email that Diddy had written to Cassie. And this was the baby girl and the pop email correspondent and nicknames that they had for one another. Diddy said, I love you so much. It makes me cry. And then Cassie responded, you hungry, pop. And so I think what the defense was trying to do, at least with these initial messages, is just kind of show that there was love and there was affection there. But just think about these time frames and these dates. This was around the time that the two had first started dating. And I felt like it kind of played into what she had said under her direct testimony, that she did care about Diddy, that she did love him. She's been very honest about that the two were, that she felt like the two were in love, especially at the beginning of her relationship. There was one message from 2010. Cassie wrote, going to sleep, so tomorrow will be faster, and kind of saying tomorrow will be faster so I can see you soon. Diddy responded, I love you so much. I never knew it could be like this. Cassie responded, I'm so happy. We're so in love. There was another message, this one from the year prior. Cassie saying, I love you so much. It made me feel like I can't wait until we just don't care anymore. And Cassie was pretty much saying that this was because she wanted to be open about the relationship, because the defense was trying to point out that Cassie and Diddy, for about a 2-year period, they weren't as open with their relationship, and that Cassie essentially just wanted to be public. Again, something that kind of corroborated her under direct testimony, where she said that she just, was in love with him and just wanted to be with him at all points, all the time. A lot of just, I love you back and forth. Again, just kind of trying to establish that these two were in love, that it wasn't forced or fraud or coerced or anything like that. Then we get to a message around August 5th of 2009. Diddy asked, when do you want to freak off? Cassie said, I'm ready to freak off, LOL. Diddy responded, you tell me the date, you choose. And then I'm paraphrasing right here. She had responded, I feel like a Friday would be best. Diddy responded, also paraphrasing here, Friday it is. Maybe we can get Jules here. Jules was an escort that they had used very often in their freak offs, according to her testimony. He was brought up a number of times, and notably, he was the escort that was inside that hotel room during the 2016 Intercontinental Hotel incident. There were other messages that went into, Diddy had a subject line that said, what are you thinking about? And then Cassie responded in a very kind of sexually explicit way that I'm not going to repeat on air. You could definitely feel like I was kind of peeking into what their history was like, especially in those intimate moments, and how the two would correspond about wanting to be with each other in an intimate way. And so a lot of those messages were displayed in front of the jury. The jury saw them. Us in the gallery, we saw these messages as well too. There was a 2009 email that Diddy had wrote to Cassie saying, I want you to feel safe to let go. And Cassie wrote, I like that. I want to give you the same. In order to be more open with the things that we do in bed, I need to feel safe like home, like this is my husband, and this is the only man that will ever have this aggressive / sexual side of me. I'm nervous. I'm just the girlfriend that you get your fantasies off with, and that I just don't get that other part. And then she wrote ... anymore, at least. And she kind of at least to me and my perspective, appeared a little apprehensive about doing these freak offs. She was asked by the defense, do you have a fear that you guys wouldn't go public, you guys being Cassie and Diddy? And she said, I guess she thought about this. Again, this is around that 2009 timeframe when the two were still kind of under wraps there. But she said that the freak offs were kind of an integral part of her relationship, and that essentially she just wanted more. There was a part where they had talked about her 21st birthday. Her 21st birthday is pretty important because that was the first time the two had kissed. That's first time that she had kissed Diddy, because remember, she had met him 2 years prior to that time. She said that this was again at her birthday. Big names, like a name that we had seen in the People and Places list from jury selection. Dallas Austin was at her that birthday party. Britney Spears was at that birthday party, and they were all brought by Diddy. She was asked about her financial situation around that time, and she said essentially she was doing well. She was, modeling. She was doing other things. And then they kind of touched base a little bit about her prior relationship even before Diddy, and that was with a producer named Ryan Leslie. And around this time frame, because Cassie was still in a relationship with Ryan at this time, the defense was trying to paint it as, when you had met Ryan, he was 10 years older than you at this point of time. And I had kind of looked it up. Diddy and Ryan Leslie aren't necessarily close in age. I think Ryan Leslie's still in his mid-40s, whereas Diddy's in his mid-50s. So there's a little bit there, but I could kind of see where the defense was trying to go and try to paint it as that you kind of get with older producers, with older men that could possibly kind of help you with your career. Then we saw an email from 2007 where Cassie had wrote, we really had 1 week of each other just together, and I can say it's been the best and the worst. The defense asked her about her relationship with Diddy. Has it always been complicated? And she kind of affirmed that a little bit. She said she thought Diddy at first was actually more interested in her friend Carrie Morgan, somebody that's been brought up a number of times during the testimony. And so as far as a lot of these messages, part of it, when I was sitting inside the gallery today, I was kind of like, where is this going? They were just reading text after text after text. It was bunches of pages, to the point I think the judge was kind of like, why are we, we need to find like a better system of getting Cassie to read these messages so that way there's not a holdup, because it was just so much messages to the point where sometimes you were trying to connect the dots and wondering what's happening. And so the presentation was a little messy on my end, at least from what I could see, that I was just kind of like, where is this going? And there were just so many points that I felt like they could talk about instead of these messages, but it seemed like they wanted to get in front of these messages, provide context that Cassie was actually in love, that at times that she had set up these freak offs even on her own, at times when even Diddy was sick. And so these messages were just all over the place. And
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, the Brando No Show signing off. See you later.
Sun rooftop, digging in the scene with the gangster lean and and we ain't coming down. See on my face that smile. See on my head that smile. Top of the world, top of the town, baby.
I moved up the hood that had the church on the corner where I sit and talk shit all day cause I wanna. And on top of that, wasn't none of y'all gonna do nothing but keep running your mouth and keep frontin'. Go ahead and say something. I'll wait. I ain't gonna wait till late, cause in a minute I'm escape. Cause there is no debate. No, it's not an option. You gotta keep cock watch.
Sun rooftop, digging in the scene with the gangster lean and we ain't coming down. See on my face that smile.